Well, Sinadapi. We welcome you to the Native Wellness Institute's Power Hour. I I'm in my mother's bedroom, so I figure this is I guess I would call it a holy place. So I'll say holy day to you. Uh, Nistu Nidanako Mokoyo Sukoi. It's my second Blackfoot name. Nistu Skapi Pikani. I am Blackfeet. Uh, Nistu Ganax Demata. I am a crazy dog, a brave dog. And Nistu Kami Pois Munix. I'm owner of a stand up headdress. And my parents are, she's in the other room making some, she wants us to eat ribs. She's got all this food: mincemeat pie, apple pie, homemade yeast bread, homemade biscuits. uh, it makes me want to cry how much my mother believes food is love and love is food. So, and she's cooking some ribs in there, and then she's making two plates for my aunt and my great aunt. And doorstep, we call it doorstep eating. We create these big plates. So she's fixing a plate for them, and then she'll drive it over, and they have a whole routine. I know some of you are doing the same thing on this holy day and bringing food and baskets and gifts, and that's the beauty of this holy day. So it's an honor to just speak to you over the Power Hour. Native Wellness Institute. Oh my gosh, I think our team, we lose track sometime. But this is our 40th week that rain, sleet, or shine. One of our team members comes on, and our whole purpose is to uplift and to bring like a positive, productive, and proactive hour during the pandemic. We started in March, and we're winding down. We're planning on 41 weeks next week. So we just wanted to just tell you that Native Wellness Institute, this is our purpose, is our mission is to keep the teachings of our ancestors alive. And today as I was driving in, and it's solid ice. It's like, I love when you're going by people, this is how they're driving. They're just driving like this, and it's like, at any moment. And I was really glad to see that the ones that did bite it and go in the ditch yesterday, they had pulled them out, so everyone helped them. So this topic area for today, we called it on colonization. Gosh, I've been just saying prayers, and I never would want to, or we would never want to hurt anyone about how and where they are in their own process or processes of assimilation, acculturation, or relearning or reclaiming. And so I guess I choose to call it reclaiming. The other part of the topic is self-actualization. And one of the first things that you could do is, Dr. Sidney Stone Brown has this really awesome book called Beyond Greed and native self actualization, and it's all about healing, definitely healing, and looking at if a person is quote that all of these terms, they're they're not to label, but if they've been born into a place where they have none of their ancestor teachings, that's okay. And if they're in a place where they have all of their ancestor teachings, that's okay too. But as you notice, our people were just diverse, and our genders are diverse. And I was thinking it because we've been, and I heard Asa. I just love how Asa Wright says it. I love how other people that have come on to the power over these last 40 weeks, they're starting to say as many stars in the sky. That's how many definitions of gender there are. And I was thinking, gosh, like all my friends, I have really good friends. We have friends that are Buddhists, and dang, they're cool people. Those Buddhists. And then I thought about, running on the longest walk and the DQ to Los Angeles we ran with these Buddhist monks. And so I was thinking of them, and I would never in any way encourage any of us to try to take away how the Buddhists believe. And then, I have a really good friend. We call him A Billy, and he's been hiding. He's been hiding down in Mexico because right at the pandemic, he was down there, and I don't think he came back. I know that, but he would always he gave us this cloth when we were developing the gathering of Native Americans. And it was given to us from Africa. And it was an African tribe about their Genesis story. And it was just, I guess I would just call it a holy cloth. And so I was thinking, all of the African tribes and all of Africa and all of their diverse languages, we would never in any way want to hurt them how they believe, that they had a different name for the higher power or creator or Stabatapi, like how us Blackfeets call it. So I was just, and then I was just remembering, over time, all of our great leaders. And I grew up with Martin Luther King. I grew up with the Black Panthers. We relocated to Oakland, and so I grew up with the real Black Panthers. And they just wanted people to have enough food that were in poverty. And so I think about Martin Luther King, and when he's talking about going to the mountaintop, and when all of the articulation that Martin Luther King had around having reverence for each other and having equality for each other and having it's also like a spiritual respect. So I just, on this day, just of reflection, so however you believe, however you've come this far in life, and however your wellness journey is, think about the gift of this pandemic. Because this pandemic, I was just thinking, God, what challenges and what gifts that this virus has given all of us. Some of us got second chances. I was just thinking about, the losses. I was driving in and was thinking about Herman Whitegrass, and Herman, he lived a good life. His work on earth was done, but he was I would still, he's 78, but I can just remember as I was driving about, this being on the Martin Luther King mountaintop. I think part of that mountaintop is to have empathy and to have reverence for any person and how they believe. So I was thinking about Herman Whitegrass, and I say that because one of the things that we all have to allow each other is a safe space for our bereavement and our healing and our celebration and our gleefulness. And so just in the self-actualization, I didn't bring any Kleenex, so you know what old ladies do? They go like this. Old ladies, they take the bottom of their dress. And so I'm going to go through some things that I prayed about today, and they're just like coming. I swear I can't do death by PowerPoint, or how I was trained as a clinician, or I can't do like those, like they have like case management frameworks and stuff like that. I think part of my transformation is God dang, I just gotta speak from my gut and speak from my heart. So the first thing I'd like to just have you think about, and you know what, as I was coming in, if any of you guys are like sober, if you're like clean and sober, this is a gift you could give to this old lady right now. Is just put in the comments how, if it's 24 hours you're clean and sober, that's good. If it's 24 years, it's good. Whatever it is, just put declare your clean and soberness. And if you're if that feels funny for you to do, or you don't want to do it, or you want to still be a social drinker, that's okay too. Because the first thing I wanted to speak about, and I think in all of the beliefs of a higher power and creator, and the work that we've been doing with Native Wellness, is it has to do with forgiveness. And so I thought, sheesh, on this holy day, and even, I love Jesus when he was on the cross. I remember hearing all the stories, because my relatives loved the Lord, and they also loved Estebattabiyop, so they rode the fence. They did both. But I remember Jesus saying, "They know not what they do," and accepting the sacrifice of his life and wishing love onto the world and forgiveness. So that forgiveness, and this has to do with the self-actualization piece. So think about what you need to do for your self-forgiveness. We all, I was, sometimes just the humor, forgive all your exes, forgive all your learning, forgive. So let's talk about relationships. There's the romantic relationships, and in Indian country, we're just that way. There's humor. There's, the one night snags. I was like, oh my God, they're still existing, and that's why I ask about the recovery, because I think when I was a participant in the drinking world, that was a norm, especially like in the 60s, and especially the 60s and 70s. It was common and celebrated to have a one night stand. And sometimes you made some children. And then all of a sudden, and that, so if anything like that has happened, other relationships, and, and I was really admiring the relationships, in our Blackfoot Confederacy. There's quite a few that just had their 50 years together. One just had celebrated their 62 years of marriage, a sacred vow together. And then I was going, wow. And, if you've been married for 62 years to the same person, you got to know something about forgiveness. You got to know. And so, but this self-forgiveness, so I'll just say a couple of things like that, is in the transformation, and, as we were hitting the 9-month mark with the pandemic, which is like the gestation, it takes that long to create a human life. And so the gestation of our transformation, some of you, something might have surfaced where you need to self-forgive. And let's see, as an example, when I was, I had worked on it, and I still work on it. When I was in college, I just started college, and I had all these scholarships, and I wasn't in a relationship that I didn't think I was going to stay in, and I got pregnant. And I chose, because it's a woman's choice. I would make a different choice now. But I had an abortion, and I've had to work on that self-forgiveness for a long time. So in my self-actualization, I knew I had reached a good point in forgiving myself, because I realized Joe Day, who is a friend of ours in Australia, him and I were up one morning. Our whole gang were doing things, and we were having a cup of coffee, and he had lost his son, because I think that this baby was a son, a boy, and he lost his son, and he was talking about how he deals with that. And he said the most healing words, and then he said these words to me. He said the most healing words that he ever had heard in losing the preciousness of his son is that he was told that he would have many sons. They would be adopted, but many sons would come. And then he started naming all the special young men that he was raising, that he was going to raise, granddaughters adopted. He just started naming all of these, and I guess that two-spirit, because, when you say son, I mean, a lot of our daughters are sons too. So then that's what he said to me. He said, you have to forgive yourself, that because you're going to have many daughters come your way. And so I was visiting with my mom, and my mom has 70 adopted children. So she has us. She has his biological children, but she has 70 adopted children. And she was Mother of the Year for the state of Montana, and she named them all. She has them all named. So I share that story with you. So this time, of reflection, because, we're with our families right now. We're eating food. We gave gifts. There's so much love. I mean, I was just, even how you should see our res. We put the Griswolds to shame. Our res has just got lights everywhere. Everybody's house, even some cars. I mean, and then they got necklaces. And I just thought, that's just so beautiful. Our people just celebrate this holy day, and it's family time. So in that self-forgiveness, think about, like I used to, and it was just a little story I used, and because I always ask native people and indigenous people of color, when I'm working with them, I said, you can always ask an Indian, you can ask them, if you were in a dark alley and you had a silencer on this pistol, and there was a person that you wouldn't mind just, and no one would find out, who would that person be? And it'd be interesting because we've had talking circles for hours. And so when I said that to you, who is that person or persons? And I don't want you to include Trump anymore. He's gone. January 20th, he's no longer. So, nope, no longer. Anyway, sorry, I get these funnies. So then, if you thought of someone, that means you have to. That's an area you have to forgive, or to work on some forgiveness, don't you think? And so one of and there, there's those cases, but there's also one of it's around betrayal. A lot of families that we worked over time, and even in my own res, I one time I was doing some work with family services, and what it came down to is there was two families that they had an old vendetta, and as we explored what was that kept them apart, it had to do with something that had happened 20 years ago when one family member stole some saddles out of someone else's barn and took them and never gave them back. And so that act was transferred to the next generation, and then the younger generation, like they were raised not liking that family. So, and that's a pretty big betrayal to take. And so think about that forgiveness, that there may be someone who did something it's time to forgive the unforgivable. And so I just have to, the other, when I was coming in and I was saying my prayers, and I visited with, I was visiting with a life partner, and we were talking about when people character assassinate someone else, when that means you talk about them behind their back, and you with someone else. It's actually that's abuse. And so then I had this thought, we should never character assassinate like Estebatapio. We should never character assassinate Buddha. We should never character assassinate Jesus. We should, and like Northern Cheyennes, I love how they say Mahio. Mahio. We should never character assassinate Mahio. We should Lakota, Nakota, Dakota, and my best friend Cecilia Fire Thunder, Tinkashala. We would never character assassinate Tinkashala. And then so I just one of this. So then this maybe the greatest reverence that we could have is just to allow other people to have their own belief and not a character assassinated that process in any way. That's like what a blessing. What a wonderful, what a wonderful. So I started thinking about that, and so forgiveness. And I in my work, and so I'm going to name a couple other things, and I hope they stimulate you to think about self-forgiveness and then forgiveness. Is one of my work with women and now men is when they end up being single parents. And if you are a single parent, no matter what the circumstances, and you've produced a child or children, I would say please, please work on that forgiveness, no matter what the circumstances were with that partner that either, and the forgiveness has to do with, and I can speak, most of my work is with women, is that women, that betrayal it gets them so mad, and it gets them to a place of hurt. They're so hurt because anger is hurt. It gets them to a place of hurt that they project it out on the children. An example is, with my work, I see, especially if they go after the partner and they try to get alimony or get some kind of support to help with the child. And so they might do it in the court system, they might do it however to try to get some kind of support. And so I see women for decades go after these men to get support for these children, not only monetarily but just to send them a card. And so that but that boils that resentment to this person. And so I give that as an example. And the worst that I see that, and that, in the self-actualization, is when that child looks just like that parent that you're really mad at or that has betrayed you. Because until there is forgiveness, you just keep getting lessons. So, okay, so that, and I'm going to look at, so that's enough about on this holy day. It'll help you colonize, because our colonizers were sometimes, especially around this area, our colonizers were criminals. They were criminals that came here. And so when you're on colonizing, I was just thinking today, I just don't want to be that criminal kind of thinking where there is a king and that gold or money is the god, and that it's okay to murder, that it's okay to take, it's okay to grab the children and put them in residential schools and all. All of that's kind of to me, that's some of the colonizers thinking. And so I'll just say, so I've been trying to, I'll be 65 pretty soon, and I've been trying to uncolonize from that to not bring that into any of my family, my 64 first cousins and all their children. I just want to not, and to find out who we really are, find out who you are. So in that second part of this holy day, I've talked about forgiveness. So I hope that you in your transformation during this pandemic are looking about, even post-pandemic, the gestures in which you forgive others. And we've had all these power hours where they say you should gift them. So give them your brand new truck, eh? Give them your brand new truck, even though you've had hate for them. Give them a brand new truck post pandemic, or give them something of emotional value. like just I've been noticing some of the best gifts going around here is people are just giving each other sweetgrass. People are just giving each other sage. And we've had 1,200 recover from the virus. People gave them, all kinds of breathing medicine. People gave them comfort blankets, some good pajamas to wear. They gave them bear root. Those I would call those emotional. So this other part of this holy day is expression of love. And that's, I was just thinking, my brother just sent his grandson a picture of him. And it was a picture because they were opening gifts and he hadn't got the thing that he thought was the best gift. And they took a picture of him and he was sitting there. And so, anyway, he sent us the picture. And so I was thinking about this, not only that a child that's like normal behavior. And childlike behavior is, we're a child. So that's how we learn to behave better and to come back to center and to behave in balance. So let's just talk about love. When you're loving, when he sent that picture, because I just think of his two little grandsons, and then I heard another story, with my life partner, his grandson. He said it was just something magical, like when his father, when his son-in-law gave his grandson this, elite skateboard, and whatever this skateboard, because skateboard, sheesh. My first question was, did it light up? Did it light up? Because, you can see, did it hover? Can it can it fly off of mountains? Anyway, he said no. He said, what was the best? He said it was the look in his eye of his father, and the look on the son's face. He said it was like he gave him a car. It was, and he's not old. I don't think he's old enough. No, he's not old enough to get a car yet. But here I go crying again. Old ladies, just don't mind old ladies, and don't. We always have all kinds of stuff underneath, so you won't see nothing when we have to cry. But think about those acts of love. Those acts of love that have happened on this holy day. I was just. My nephew, and he has 4 children. He helped. His best gift was he came and we had a blizzard here and lots of snow and ice, and he helped to dig out my truck. And I knew, for some reason, it took us hours. It took us hours, but when we got it out, I just felt so good because there was love there, and it's not monetary. There was just a love, because at a couple points we I just kept saying, what do you think? Because out of love, I don't know, I just always give that space, especially to men and young men, that it's not that they don't ask for help. It's just that you learn and you get stronger by going through really tough things. And at one point, we were both kind of like, okay, we might have to call somebody to pull us both out, because we were laughing. You got one Dodge heavy, 6.7 heavy, trying to pull another Dodge on solid ice. And we're just like, and anyway, we figured it out. We figured it out together, but while we were doing it, I was just thinking, this is my love for my nephew, and here he is, because he's got 4 kids, and he's got a wife that's a nurse, and they got a business, but he still takes, the love that he has for me as his auntie or as his relative. We spent the time, and the whole reason I wanted to get out, I would have just stayed home, because I just stay home. is because my mother was cooking her feast. And I had to get to town because I told her I would be there at 1 o'clock. Anyway, that was when she was having her feast. So that was an act of love. So let me just since I'm just visiting with you, because hey, this is the holy day, and everyone's got decorations, and my mom's in there watching basketball. I'll tell you, my mom loves basketball, and she knows everybody. I mean, I'm not going to talk about basketball, but she's in there, and I could just hear her going, "Whoo, whoo, hey!" and then she goes, "God, this is such a good game," And I was just thinking, so there's a love. An 82-year-old woman in there, and don't mess with her when she's watching basketball. So that love. So think about how, and now that we've come through this pandemic, and now that we're looking to the new year, and I really, I embrace all of you that took some time off, that are taking some time off, because that's our normal rhythm, to take some time off, or everyone will say, until the first of the year. So in this self-actualization, take some time off, take some downtime, and sit still. Just sit still and look at the mountains. We call it the backbone. I just look at the mountains. But in this love, I wanted to, Native Wellness Institute, we're just doing the best we can. We're doing some more grief and loss next week. We have some things coming up. So I'll share with you some of the love things that I've seen with the essential workers. And that's, how many of you cried when you saw the essential workers getting the vaccine? Hey, I was just like, there's my little red dress missing inward. Oh man, we just cried when we saw them get the first shot of the vaccine. And then, when here with our essential workers. So the essential workers, and on Monday, that Native Wellness Institute has a contract with Seattle Indian Health Board. And I just have to say, since March, working with those essential workers has taught us so much. But one of the love stories, and I guess this is storytelling. This is this time, a safe space where I'm just visiting with you, is one of the essential workers. He and his partner wanted to get married pre-pandemic, and it became such a hard thing because they were moving into the pandemic. And then it became, what they had planned in this large wedding, and then getting both sides of the family because they didn't know each other. And because of love, it was just moving through the pandemic. And like about midsummer, this essential worker and his partner just decided to have, it ended up just being 12 people with social distancing. They just decided to go ahead and get married. Just go ahead. They had this vow, and so think about that love. Have you put something on hold? Have you put something on hold that you just need to do? That needs to happen, and maybe not the way that you thought it would happen. And so they went ahead with the wedding, and it was just the 12. But I swear, in that essential worker, what it did for him was just uplift him. I mean, he was at work. He was, making food baskets for people. He was working with the homeless. He was helping people get clean and sober. He was working with mental health, and where right before that wedding, a lot of the essential workers were exhausted, sleep deprived, and just burning out. And for this essential worker, it was love. That love of his partner, and that decision to make a vow with each other, and that decision to go through with that ritual and that ceremony that brought them together. And you could see it, because once he got married, is that he became more energized, more productive, more because, and you guys know that feeling when you're in love, like you're looking through a lens of love. So think about, in on this holy day that you're spending with your family, that you're enjoying the time, and I hope you're still in your pajamas. I hope that maybe you haven't combed your hair. The only reason I kind of rebraided my hair looked kind of wild. And I always say, because this hair. And I came and I go, Mom, do you have a comb? So I felt like, and then I wore, this would be a normal, I'd be up in Kainai, I'd be up there and there's usually a celebration, and I would wear a dress like this. So I thought, I'm just going to dress like I'm going to the ceremony. I don't have moccasins on, I have mucks, but, so think about love and how you're going to express that energy. I was thinking even it's been so loving. Everybody's been sharing pictures of the solstice star, and some call it the Bethlehem star. In other countries, they have their own language name for the star when Jupiter and Saturn come and are the brightness in the sky. And I was just thinking, even that loving gesture, everyone's sending photos. They're going out and they're sitting with their family, waiting to see this star, this holy Gakadoksi go on. This, my mom, we were raised, she would always tell us to talk to the stars, especially because we could always see the Milky Way, and that's my Indian name, means the Milky Way or the Wolf's Trail. But she would say, talk to the star people, and if you have a problem, tell the star people and they'll work it out for you. So those of you in this loving gesture during this solstice and today, this holy day, just think about what else, for self-love and for your family love, do you need to do? And I was, so I just have to share, I was thinking about it. We have a special auntie, and she loves turtles. And I was looking at something that was gifted to me that is a turtle necklace, and just coming in, I just thought that belongs to Auntie. And so for those of you out there, think about all the stuff you have, because part of uncolonizing is you give it all away. That's why we admired our leadership. They give it all away. They whatever they had, they gave it away. They gave away horses. They gave away buffalo robes. They gave away, and that's why I was teasing you earlier about giving your vehicles away. At least keep one. But just think about shedding, the renewal, shedding and giving out, and sometimes I was just thinking, I love it. They say give it away where the person doesn't know that you've given it to them. So I thought, well, that would be pretty cool. I should just get some 20s and put them in envelopes and kind of like go down around town and leave them so that then they don't know who did it. But you just think of some ideas of how you could give love or gestures of love where no one's going to find out about it. Or shedding some of the stuff that you have. You probably, those of you, we always have joke here because we're always de-hoarding. my whole family, because we got hoard, because we came from boarding school, and one of our symptoms is we hoard. I mean, like, we don't just have two coats or one pair of shoes. We have 40 coats, and we have 300 pairs of shoes. So that kind of stuff, this pandemic has taught us that we don't need that stuff. That all we need is the love. All we need is our relatives. All we need, all we need is to mask up just to see them. Like even now, everyone's, waving in their cars, and just think of the acts of love that symbolically you could give, and take a moment. All the GoFunds of people that are desperate and contribute. I just love all the ham stories here, because they gave us these hams, but then in our bubble we had 4 big hams. So then we gifted some hams, and then someone else gifted us a ham. There's all of these ham stories, and it was like giving, but it was something beautiful about all of this gifting. And so the thought around gifting, it's not the actual gift, it's the giver. Because it's like, what's sentimental, like what is, like even these elk teeth, this simple. I always wear this because it was given to me to a couple when they were just falling in love, and this couple was getting transferred a lot. They were getting transferred to many things into some of our societies, and they were getting transferred responsibilities. And so this was and they were in love. They were just that, can't be apart, just loving each other, and they gave me this. So this means a lot. It has a lot of meaning because it has a meaning of love. And so think about the things that you have that would have what they call it sentimental value. Like you may have something of grandpa's, you may have something of grandma's, and this is some of those of you that have gone to the edge and almost with this virus, and you've come back and you're healing. So maybe we should have love giving, love gifting, and it's as if the stuff, all the excess or all the stuff that you have, think about it, if it's materialistic, but also think about your words, your wisdom, your just checking on people. Because I was one of the most loving things that you could do is check on your elders. Call them all up, check on them, or whatever platform of communication that they use, or just go over to their house and honk. And honk, because those drive-by, just check on people. That gesture, especially now, because like now we're kind of moving into, give it some time of patience as we all get that first vaccine and the second vaccine. By next year we'll hopefully all be dancing, all dancing Grand Entry, coming in with each other, and I know we're just going to be filled with love. I mean, like we were making designs for new outfits, and that's I came in my family. I shut myself in the bedroom, and I said, I gotta do power hour, because with Native Wellness Institute, like with Jolene and Robert and Levita. I mean, I was just thinking about Levita's red glasses, and just thinking about Casey and Lori that comes on, Shailene and the gang, Indigenous 20-something. We have this whole we go on with our lives, but all of a sudden we'll say, oh, I gotta do power hour, because we've been doing it for 40 weeks. And it's just that act of love of our team just to come. And so I was just telling my family, I gotta go do power hour, Mom. Can I use your bedroom? Because they're in there, they still want to celebrate some more. And Mom's cooking some ribs, and and I know you're making your phone calls. So check on your elders. And I say this because sometimes up in our area, like we got an 88-year-old and an 82, and they're all, not too many check on them, but I always check on them. Check on your elders, and check on your relatives that are spending alone time, because it's always, if they're alone, just the loving gesture, just like say, hey, I'm checking on you. How are you? Sinadapi, how are you? How are you doing? And listen. And then listen to what they have to say. Just reach out. So, this on this holy day, so think about, the self actualization and the self forgiveness, because self actualization. And I was looking at all of, they call it when some people get a spiritual awakening. Sometimes they'll say, boy, so-and-so has really changed. And around here, the ones that have recovered from COVID, they're different people. They're different people. And they're showing love. They're showing forgiveness. And they've got a second chance. And those of you who have had near-death experiences, you know how it is when you have that near-death experience, for whatever the scenario is, when you have a second chance. So in our final moments here, the dogs are here. I can make sure if there's some dogs bust through this door. But in this in our final moments here, think about this time, how you've transformed, and what you're going to do differently in being your true self. I was as I was getting dressed, I was thinking, I dress like it. I guess I dress like an Indian. I like to dress like an Indian because I'm an Indian. But in this transformation of love, how and what are you going to do, post pandemic and after today? Because we have these 4 lovely days where we just get to be with our bubble. And we sacrificed, congratulations if you didn't travel. Congratulations if you didn't get other people into harm's way. And congratulations if you've been wearing a mask. Congratulations if you've been social distancing and staying a buffalo length apart. Congratulations if you have said to yourself, I'm going to get the vaccine. I'm going to have a second chance at life. And congratulations to yourself if you have forgiven those in this past 40 weeks. Congratulations to yourself if you have a love, if you're, because I was thinking, why does my, I know I'm falling in love, but I'm also falling in love with people that I didn't used to like. And I was thinking, and then I'm really trying, I learned with the self-care, and Native Wellness is doing so much self-care. Maybe our hearts, part of the gift from Istipatapi, part of the gift is that we have more of the ability to love. And look at that ability to love and do it. When Maslow came here and stayed with our people, he came in 1938 in the summer, 39 and 40, and he spent a lot of time with like the families up at Sixikai, and And remember his hierarchy of need, and our elders blessed him with that. But in that hierarchy, at the bottom is food and shelter. But as you come up to the self actualization, and that's the ultimate. And it's a Blackfoot, but we'll share it with Maslow. And those of you who are only taught Maslow, is there's a tier, and it's called the ability to love. And so that ability to love is only enhanced if you allow your vulnerability to be shown, and you allow your authentic self to be there. And as you show your true self, I kind of feel like, geez, you guys, it really... I wish I could see all of you, and I think I do right now. But think about that ability to love. And so we'll end on that note with the Power Hour. Is this pandemic has gifted us a time to really enhance and to celebrate and to glorify our ability to love. And that's the gift. Because we don't take any of our relationships for granted. We don't take any of our family for granted. We don't take our animals for granted. We don't take our skills to get a job or to re-get a job. Because if you lost your job, create a job. It's all of those abilities to love. And so as this holy day goes on, in the next 24 hours that you're celebrating with your family and celebrating with yourself, think about that ability to love and how you have to let your heart grow. And the best example is when you have children, that's like your heart jumps out of you and your heart's walking around. That's why our parenting job is never done. We love them all of their lives, and they love us. And so with that, I'm gonna go join my family, and would like to thank N7 for promoting and for sponsoring these Power Hours, and our team at Native Wellness Institute. We're all just we're gonna take a little bit of time off next couple of days. We love you, Kitsikako Mem, and we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you in person, even if we have a mask on. And we can't wait to hug you and to really give you some close love. So, Kitakito Matsuno. We'll see you later.